We now have hard confirmation that Sonic Racing Crossworlds was outperformed by Mario Kart World day one. And by that, I don't mean that Mario Kart World has sold more in the span of time since it's been out. No, I mean Mario Kart World sold more units the day that Sonic Racing Crossworlds released. Its absolute peak of relevancy, its release date, when the hype was at its absolute high point, it was outperformed by a 4-month-old game. That's how badly Sonic Racing Crossworlds underperformed. And we really need to drive this home because this is the saddest, most pathetic display from that blue rat we have seen in years. I would put this on par with Sonic fans saying that Sonic Lost World would outperform Mario 3D World. Okay, like this was one of the most transparent, blatant attempts at trying to destroy Nintendo that I've ever seen. Like this was downright delusional right from the onset. Dudes really believed that Sonic Racing Crossworlds would somehow outperform Mario Kart World. That this would be a huge cultural phenomenon, that it would make Sonic great again, that it would be like this major deal that would just embarrass Nintendo and somehow destroy the Switch 2, even though this game is readily available on Switch 2. Like, we were supposed to believe that this game was going to easily dismantle Mario Kart World and demonstrate how real kart racers are made. Everyone was shilling about the character roster. They were talking about the DLC. Like, SpongeBob is in it. Fucking SpongeBob. Don't you know that SpongeBob is a kind of a big deal on Nickelodeon? How is Mario, the biggest character in all of video games, going to compete with Nickelodeon? It is downright absurd how much people push this narrative that Sonic Racing Crossworlds ever had a shot at competing with Mario Kart World. Ever had a shot of being as big of a deal as it. Like, ever had a sliver of relevancy. And yet, we go through this every time. I remember this happening when Sonic Racing Transformed came out. Everybody insisted that this game was way better than Mario Kart, that this was this huge deal, that Sega had hit it out of the park, and yet, when I actually tried the game, like, years later, when I bought it for sale on, like, the Wii U eShop, I think after the Switch had come out, like, when I bought this game and I played it, I was baffled. I was really, truly 100% put off by what I was seeing with this display. Like, Sonic Racing Transformed was a game I did not stick with, that I did not play, that I did not care about because it wasn't that good. Even buying it for $15 on the eShop didn't make me feel as if it was worth it. That is the level of quality between Mario Kart World and this, in that people will buy Mario Kart World for $80. They will buy an entire new video game console for $500 with Mario Kart World, and they will think that is completely worth it. And meanwhile, I can buy Sonic Racing Transformed for $15, on another console and just feel completely ripped off. That's the reality of the Sonic versus Mario thing. Sonic is a cheap knockoff brand that does not sell, that is not competitive with Mario, and yet we're supposed to believe that Sonic is Mario's greatest rival. Like, we're not supposed to acknowledge that, like, Mario is completely uncontested as, like, the face of video games. We're not supposed to acknowledge that Mario is bigger than Mickey Mouse ever was, or that Pokemon is the biggest thing on the planet. Like, no, we have to sit here and pretend, like, for decades that Sonic the Hedgehog is just as relevant as Mario. Like, even in the 90s, that wasn't true. And we've had to put up with this for like 30 years. 30 years of people who grew up on like Sega does what Nintendo adds, trying to gaslight you into thinking Sonic was ever competitive with Nintendo, that Sega was ever relevant worldwide, that they ever had a genuine video game hit on their hands, instead of just gaslighting dipshits into like worshiping their brand because like, oh man, it's where all the sports games are, man. Like, take away the ads for Sega and you have nothing. Okay. Sega never left an impact on the world of gaming. When they left, nobody noticed, nobody cared, right? They did not contribute a thing to the world of video games in their entire existence as a console manufacturer. Sega was a complete joke of a Hawaiian company that could never compete with Nintendo's superior Japanese game design. In fact, Sega likes to pretend they're a Japanese company. So don't sit there and try and like gaslight people into thinking that like Sonic was ever relevant or like it could have gone either way, because that wasn't going to happen. Mario World by itself is better than everything Sonic has ever put out. Okay? Like, it's really truly not even close. And meanwhile, you have like, Nintendo expanding into countless other spin-off series. You have like Yoshi's Island, better than anything Sonic did. DKC, better than anything Sonic did. You have like, Mario Party, you have Mario Kart, you have like, the Mario sports games, all of which are better than the cheap derivative knockoff Sonic products that we always seem to get around the same time. Like Sonic, Sega is a complete joke. And I am so tired every single time that we see this happen. Like, I am so exhausted of this blue rat. I am so exhausted of this character who can't even run as fast as Super Mario, is supposed to be this icon of like anti-Nintendo discourse. No more. Sonic is done. I will never again buy another Sonic game. The Genesis era was shit. Your childhood was a lie. Your hero was a complete farce. Sonic was always trash. And it is time that we as Nintendo fans really start rallying around this concept, because Sonic was always slop. It is bottom of the barrel trash designed for man children like Chris Chan to goon over and make weird fan fiction comics about. That's Sonic's audience. Sonic 2. That is all the brand is known for today.